is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are the Force. We are Florida.
After a win last night in Minnesota, the road trip continues for Miami. It's on to Chase Field in Phoenix. Actually, not that hot here in Phoenix. The Marlins and the Diamondbacks open up a three-game set. Marcell Ozuna, some autographs, and the Marlins try to get a little momentum going after a win last night. Rich Waltz along with Preston Wilson. Nice win last night in the fact that the Marlins scored a lot of late runs against the Twins.
It was nice to see the Marlins add on, something they hadn't been able to do. They're really good at scoring early, but scoring late has been a problem. And last night, they did a good job of hitting with men in scoring position late in the game.
One of the best kept secrets in the National League is playing center field for Miami, although he is starting to get some all-star love around the country. And that's Marcell Ozuna. He continued with a hot night last night. And you look at his numbers, and man, you can't help but say he's an all-star.
The numbers speak for themselves. When you look at the batting average, total bases, and for me, the one that I really like is the OPS, on base plus slugging, over 900. That's in elite territory.
Elite territory for sure. And of course, in the absence of Giancarlo Stanton's bat, having Ozuna in that 4 spot or 3 spot or 5 spot has been super for the Fish. All right, pitchers in this one, you got lefties going on, and Justin Nicolino goes for Miami. His last win was the last time the Marlins faced the Diamondbacks, and that was all the way back on May 3rd.
Justin Nicolino did a great job last time against the Snakes, moving the ball in and out against left-handers and right-handers, changing speeds effectively, but more importantly, keeping the ball in the lower half of the strike zone. He did that well, he did it consistently, and he pitched a great game.
His opponent in that ball game, not only the Diamondbacks, but also Patrick Corbin. And Corbin gets the start for Arizona. Terrific athlete, and a guy who went out and beat Jake Arrieta in his last start.
Well, Corbin's got a good fastball. He's got a really good slider that's really effective against right-handed batters. He uses as a back foot slider, but he can tend to fall in love with his changeup a little bit, and that's a problem for him. He needs to stay more fastball slider when he's effective. Hopefully we can get him up in the strike zone tonight, because the Cubs, last time they faced him, just pounded the ball in the ground, and he was knee-high all game.
Marlins swept the Diamondbacks in that series in Miami. Stanton struggles. Jessica Blaylock will dissect it as the Fish get set to take on Arizona. First of a 3-gamer starts straight away. presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. Danny Echeverria loosening up Baxter. Oh, Baxter. Maybe not as fun and lovable as the Philly fanatic, but he tries hard. Let's go down to Jessica Blaylock. Jess?
Hey, Rich. Well, what started out as a promising series against the Twins for Giancarlo Stanton took a rough turn last night. Stanton finished Game 3 of that series with Minnesota with 4 strikeouts in addition to grounding into a double play. Now, obviously, a lot of frustration for Stanton, but fortunately for the Marlins, Don Mattingly has said, hey, we're not going to live and die by the bat of Stanton. We're still going to take a team approach to offense. Here is Mattingly on seeing other players step up, especially considering how much Stanton is struggling right now.
I think it's pretty evident when you see what Marcel's doing and Martin. There's been different guys giving us production. So, I mean, it's very important that the whole club swings the bat well. And it's important that Giancarlo swings the bat well. Quite honestly, if we're going, you know, teams that win, they have a lot of guys that are having good seasons, and that's really what it's going to take for us. We're going to have a number of guys offensively having good seasons, where you're a club that comes from a lot of different places and can win games in different ways. So that's what we're going to need, but we're definitely going to need Giancarlo. It just makes things easier if you can put runs on the board really quickly.
And a team approach to offense is certainly what we saw last night in that series finale against the Twins. The Marlins finished with 18 hits and 10 runs. Hopefully that momentum can carry over into this game tonight. When we return, it is first pitch between the Diamondbacks and the Marlins. It's game 1 of a 3-game series here in Arizona. Justin Nicolino will be on the mound for the Fish. Patrick Corbin will get the start for the Diamondbacks.
Miami Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. By your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. And by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Chase Field, Marlins and Diamondbacks. First of 3. The Fish coming off a big win last night. They scored a ton of runs, 10 runs on 18 hits. You UL Sports Medicine brings you Miami's lineup.
Here come the fish. Danny Echeverry is leading off. Martin Prado second. Christian Yelich third. Marcell Ozuna's hitting cleanup. Giancarlo's in the 5-hole. CJ is 6th. Rojas is 7th. Jeff Mathis is 8th. Justin Nicolino is 9th. And tailing up the lineup.
Here's Patrick Corbin's first pitch. It's a fastball for a strike. Danny Echeverry in that leadoff spot. Corbin a lefty. And Miami has just one lefty bat in there, and that's Christian Yelich. You see Corbin's numbers. He was the opponent when Justin Nicolino got his last win. That was May 3rd, Diamondbacks Marlins. It opened a 3-gamer in Miami. Marlins would sweep it. Nicolino got the win. Corbin got a no decision.
I like this, having Echeverry at the top of the lineup. Just move him around, give him something different.
Well, for the fish, that's kind of been what Don Mattingly has done since the suspension of D. Gordon. Derek Dietrich's been in that leadoff spot. Ichiro has been there lately, and Echeverria drills it to left, hits it pretty well. O'Brien back, and he makes the catch on the track. Defensively, here come the Snakes. It's brought to you by Southwest. Peter O'Brien, just up from the minor leagues, is in left field. Michael Bourne signed by the Diamondbacks. Yasmani Tomas in right. Jake Lamb, Paul Goldschmidt on the corners. Nick Ahmed, Gene Segura up the middle, and Wellington Castillo is the catcher. And here is Martin Prado for Miami. Prado, a couple of hits last night. There were a bunch of Marlins with multi-hit games, as you would expect when you get 18 hits. Prado had 2. Ichiro had 2. Yelich had 2. Marcell Ozuna had 4. JT Realmuto 3. And Echeverria was 2 for 5 in that 10-3 win over the Twins. Prado, a former Diamondback, with a 2-0 count. If you believe in trends, and that one's going to fall foul. Prado has a couple going for him tonight. One, a lefty's on the mound, and he's really good at hitting lefties. He's 6th in the National League at .364. The other is he's in Phoenix, which means that's a road game, and Prado is the best in the National League on the road at .400.
See Corbin down in the zone. Everything is down, down, down. Even the ball that Echeverria hit, he hit it well, but it was a ball down around below the knees.
Prado to right. Tomas is there, and he makes the catch. So a couple balls hit pretty well. Echeverria to left. Prado to right. And here comes Yelich.
Left fielder number 21, Christian Yelich.
Though the Marlins are not getting a lot of love at the All-Star ballot, electronic or handwritten, however way you'd like it, they have 2 guys in the middle of their lineup that are having All-Star type years, Yelich and Marcell Ozuna. Yelich right now 5th in the National League in hitting, right behind Ozuna. On base percentage, Yelich is top 10 at .409. 17 doubles. And has a 9-game hit streak coming into play tonight. Ball and a strike. Had 2 hits last night. RBI double and a single. Corbin misses outside. Two and one. It's Ted Barrett calling balls and strikes. Lance Barksdale, Angel Hernandez, and Will Little, the other umpires tonight. Friday night crowd still arriving here. Yelich cranks one to right, and Tomas can't get it, and it gets by him. And with Yelich's speed, that's 3 bases. Yelich around second, on his way to third, and he's in there. Tomas almost got there, and with a reach, just couldn't get a glove on it. And once it was by him, Yelich scooted into third.
Yeah, that ball was hit very well. Tomas tried to get there, stayed on his feet, didn't want to dive for it. And when you miss that ball, that turns a double into a triple. Because now you got to circle back around and get back to it. And when a guy who has, look at these long strides of Yelich, just eating up ground. Doesn't look like he's running hard, but each stride he covers so much ground.
For Yelich, his second triple of the season. And now here's Ozuna. In that game in early May, when the Marlins beat the Diamondbacks, Ozuna against Corbin.
Got something up in his own, hit it really hard. Hoping to find something like that tonight, something up in his own that he can take a good rip at.
Ball and a strike. Scouting reports indicate that Corbin throwing the changeup less, the slider more, as Preston pointed out. And you saw in the video the dark gray charcoal road uniforms. No such look here. Although the Diamondbacks are the major league leaders in combination of uniforms with a lot of their new look. They'll also do throwback nights and get into a little teal and purple. Back in the day when they were world champs in 2001. Into right field, Ozuna stays hot, and Miami is on the board first.
Good swing by Ozuna, got something up in his own that he likes. Belt high, maybe a little lower. That's not where Corbin wanted to be, but he stayed on. Looked like a backdoor breaking ball that he stayed on. Just took what he gave him, didn't try to do too much with it. Take that single to right field, get yourself an RBI. He's thinking the right way right now, very often in the batter's box. I like what I'm seeing.
35 RBIs now for Ozuna. And here's Stanton. Giancarlo 0 for 5 yesterday, 4 strikeouts. And he takes down low. He was as relaxed as I've seen him at batting practice in about 3 weeks. He and Barry Bonds were working on a few things, and his entire batting practice consisted of staying inside the ball and driving it hard to right. We'll see if it pays off as Stanton tries to go back to basics.
Get back to basics. Don't worry about getting jammed. Try to stay with that approach. Don't get results oriented. Stay function oriented.
That pitch down low in the dirt. That was during batting practice. He looks very relaxed up there right now. But it has been a long and deep valley. 15 games, 32 strikeouts. Late. And it's 2-1. What does that swing tell you?
Just tells me that he wasn't on time to hit. When you don't see the ball long enough, you get that funky swing that looks like you're just trying to foul the ball off. And the sad part about that, that's a 2-0 count. That's a count to sit and rip.
Stan hits a high fly ball to right. Tomas backs up and makes the catch. Miami on the board. A Yelich triple. Ozuna knocks him home. It's 1-0. In the desert, Marlins are here for 3. From Minneapolis to Phoenix. Diamondbacks lineup brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine.
Segura's leading off, Bourne second, Goldschmidt is third. Castillo is fourth, Peter O'Brien just called up, batting fifth. Jake Lamb sixth, Yasmani Tomas seventh. Nick Ahmed is eighth, and Patrick Corbin is batting ninth.
And Justin Nicolino opens Gene Segura's night with a strike. And a back foot breaking ball that misses in. Nicolino's numbers, he won 2 of his first 3 starts. As we pointed out, his last win was against this team on May 3rd. His last time out, he pitched pretty well against the Mets and ended up giving up 2 runs, getting the loss in a 6-4 ball game.
Corbin and Nicolino basically have to pitch somewhat the same. They both have to establish inside to lefty and right-handed batters.
How far Mathis was in.
They both have to keep the ball down, and they both have to have at least one secondary pitch to go along with their fastball. Whether it be a changeup or a curveball, breaking ball, they both need that to be able to accompany that location of the fastball.
Diamondbacks just dropped 2 of 3 to the Rays, who were in here. Arizona an off day yesterday. Swing and a miss. And that's the adjustment that Juan Nieves made with Nicolino and with Wei-Yin Chen. 2 strikes, don't put anything over the plate. And Segura chases Miami's defense behind Nicolino. It's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Yelich, Ozuna, and Giancarlo back together again tonight. Martin Prado, Adeiny Echeverria, Miguel Rojas the start against the lefty at second base. And Chris Johnson as well at first with Jeff Mathis behind the plate. Mathis steering the ship with Nicolino. And there's a familiar face who, for some of you, that might be a little strange seeing him in a Diamondback uniform. Michael Bourne, released by the Braves just before the start of the season. Comebacker, and Nicolino an underhand flip to Johnson. And 2 outs here to begin the first.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of people in baseball surprised to see Michael Bourne get released by the Braves, but it's good to see him back in the big leagues. Where we saw it with James Loney. Got back to the big leagues with the Mets. Michael Bourne here with the Diamondbacks.
Chip Hale, his second season as manager. He was the right-hand man for Bob Melvin for a while. Also third base coach for the Mets 5 years ago. Paul Goldschmidt now. This is the man for the Diamondbacks.
Nicolino trying to send a message that first pitch. He's telling him, I'm going to pitch you inside, so you got to honor both sides of the plate.
It always seems like whenever you see Goldschmidt, he's on some sort of a streak, whether it's a hitting streak, an on-base streak, and it's on base right now. 14 consecutive games, and in those 14 games, he's hit .367. Whoa, smoked it up the middle. Rojas got a piece of it, and it flares out into center field for a hit.
Yeah, that's got to be a hit. That ball almost dragged Rojas into right center field. Yeah, that's one of the ones you're very fortunate if you catch it. It's a great play. If not, it was supposed to be a base hit as hard as that was hit.
Now Castillo. Wellington Castillo, well-traveled catcher, finding a home in Arizona. Had a really nice start to the season. He's cooled off a bit, but still 7 homers. He's driven in 22. He's in the cleanup spot. Peter O'Brien, a Miami product, is in the 5 spot, just up from AAA Reno. Runner goes, swing and a miss. Mathis throw, not in time. And you can't sleep on Goldschmidt. That's his 8th stolen base. of the season.
There have been a lot of teams getting some really big jumps off Nicolino. This is really a good, I don't know if this is first move or a read, but that's a big jump. Goldschmidt steals that bag very easily. Not much of a chance back there for Real Muto to throw him out. And just a great jump.
It looked like Castillo essentially gave up the swing. It's just a token swing to keep Mathis anchored, so he couldn't hop out and release that throw a little quicker. Bouncer third. Prado gets his momentum going to first and throws out Wellington Castillo. 1-0 Miami headed to the second. Midsummer Classic coming to Miami in 2017. You can sign up to receive ticketing updates, breaking news, and all the information relating to Major League Baseball's All-Star Game and the All-Star Week. All the events to be held at Marlins Park and in Miami in July of 2017. Go to marlins.com/ASG. And while you're at marlins.com, fill out the 2016 All-Star ballot. Tim Wallach, Christian Yelich. Chris Johnson, Miguel Rojas, and Jeff Mathis. Johnson last night came into the ball game and homered in the 7th. And he homered in just a fascinating spot in Minnesota. When we previewed that ballpark the first night in, we talked about the porch in right field with the limestone facing and the little flowers that lined it in front of the stands. Watch where this ball goes. It's right in the flowers.
Yeah, my grandmother wouldn't be happy about this, having balls hitting her flowers.
For Johnson, home run number 3, and he gets the start against Corbin. Takes a breaking ball, hits it hard in the hole. Ahmed, a very good shortstop, and he makes the play and makes it well.
But about that Johnson home run, that was a legitimate opposite field blast he hit. But right here, no luck. Nick Ahmed, good range, good strong arm. Okay, he's going to have to do some impressive stuff, though, to outdo what we saw in Minnesota from Eduardo Nunez. He played one of the better shortstops I believe I've seen all year in that series.
Eduardo Nunez was good with the bat and great with the glove. Miguel Rojas takes down low. Rojas starting with the lefty on the mound. Derek Dietrich gets the night off. Rojas came in last night and was 1 for 2. AutoNation brings you the scouting report for Patrick Corbin.
Let's take a look at Mr. Corbin here. Basketball was his first choice. I think he made the right choice picking baseball. PTBNL, acquired from the Los Angeles Angels for Dan Herron. You know what that PTBNL stands for, Rich?
Peanut butter with no.
Nutella and lettuce? No, that's not it. It's a player to be named later. That's what that is. He was also a 2013 All-Star selection. That year he went 14-8 with a 3.41 ERA.
I love the Nutella and lettuce. That was very good thinking on your feet, Preston Wilson. Outstanding stuff. For a man who went out and got Lolo's chicken and waffles for dinner tonight here at the ballpark.
Yeah,
very much a treat. Rojas strikes out, and here comes Jeff Mathis. Well, the Diamondbacks had high expectations coming into this season. The acquisition of Zach Greinke and Shelby Miller, that was supposed to bolster the rotation, and they were to challenge in the West. But Chip Hale's ball club has not been totally healthy. Miller on the disabled list right now. Greinke pitching well. That's into right center and pretty well hit. Tomas is there, and he makes the catch in a 1-2-3 second for Patrick Corbin. Bottom two. Scott Pride telecast presented by the Authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Diamondbacks to work here for Chip Hale and the Snakes. Right now 10.5 back. A.J. Pollock, their fine outfielder, has been hurt. Injured himself in one of the last spring training games. As we noted, Miller was not effective in coming over from Atlanta and then has been hurt. He's expected back fairly soon. Peter O'Brien, Braddock High School in Miami. Now at the end of the bat, he rolls it out to Rojas. There's Greinke. He pitched a 2-hour and 15-minute game the other night in a win over the Rays.
He's one of those guys that when he's on, it's everything's a strike and everything is right where he wants it. And he's got every weapon you can imagine to attack a hitter with, plus his brain.
That's what you get for 2 hours and 15 minutes of Zach Greinke. A lot of early outs, a lot of two-pitch at bats and bad contact.
Well, as a hitter, if you sit there and take pitches, you end up 0-2 every at bat because he's throwing so many strikes with every pitch that he has. So you have to try to attack early. but then he throws everything where he wants it, so you don't really get a good swing on it.
Jake Lamb now. Lamb is having a really nice year. 11 homers. He's driven in 35. Slugging .520. 14 doubles as well. A lot of business for Rojas so far. And that's a good sign for Nicolino. That's his 4th ground ball out. And here comes Yasmani Tomas. Of course, the other story around the Diamondbacks is in their front office. Tony La Russa is now the chief baseball officer. His former right-hander Dave Stewart is the vice president general manager. There's Tony.
Here he is. That man loves some baseball. He loves everything about the ideas of how to make a team work, how to put it together. And he's always looking for that different edge to make his team better. And one thing that he does is he's always going to have a very athletic team. You look at Dave Stewart, there's the general manager here.
He's got that game face on, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's him all the time. That's actually him smiling, Richard, just in case you didn't know. That's actually his happy face when you look at Dave Stewart. He cannot be more pleased with what's going on right now.
Longtime Major League exec Roland Heeman in there as well.
There's some baseball experience in that little booth right there. Good baseball minds.
This is one of the guys that all those baseball minds would like to see get going. The $60 million investment in the Cuban Yasmani Tomas.
Well, the one thing he can do is he can hit. I think they've been trying to find a position for him. They played him at third, left, right. But he can swing the bat. He's hitting .266, 7 home runs.
Tomas .317 on base. He's got a dozen doubles to go with those 7 homers. Oh. Echeverria on to first. Very nice start by Justin Nicolino. Goes 1-2-3 with 3 ground ball outs in the second. Air-conditioned climate. What used to be the Bob when Preston Wilson was popping balls around here as a Marlin and a Rocky. It was Bank One Ballpark, or just called the Bob. Nicolino takes a fastball for a strike. Nicolino off the end of the bat. Lamb gets the out. And look what we found digging through our statistical information. Look at that young slugger, Preston Wilson, and look at the numbers here at Chase Field.
Yeah, I used to love coming here, man. I don't know what it was. They had good pitchers here, but for some reason, coming to this ballpark, having that big batter's eye, all that room in the outfield, I really enjoyed swinging the bat here.
So the batter's eye for you is that spot out in center field.
Yeah.
The backdrop. You like that.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to like the fact that there's altitude here, and in the desert, you got the dry air.
Yeah, and also, oh, that's a nice swing by Etch right there.
Echeverria in the right field. And that's another thing that hitters like about this ballpark is the dirt and the grass is hard and fast.
Yes.
And so a ball like that in some ballparks may hang up for the second baseman, but for Echeverria, it's shot right into right field.
Yeah, I like that it's just a spacious outfield. You see how the center field wall is flat. It doesn't curve right away. So there's a lot of room for extra base hits here. The ball carries here both to left and right. And the other thing that most people don't really notice is there's no glare whatsoever out there. It looks nice and quiet out there as far as that dark green color. Some stadiums you can have a dark backdrop, but the lights sometimes have that light scatter on it, and
right.
doesn't really appear as dark as it should be. This ballpark is great for hitting.
Martin Prado takes outside. I mentioned altitude. It is the second highest altitude in Major League Baseball behind Coors Field in Denver. The one that always stumps everybody is the third highest altitude, and that's Atlanta.
Yes. Yeah, it's one of those that goes unnoticed that Atlanta has that high altitude. Back in the 60s and 70s, it used to be called a launching pad. People don't really remember that, but it's all. And then next after that, I think, is Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee's fourth.
I'll tell you what, and a lot of the hitters were talking about it around batting practice today, and coaches. Minnesota's ballpark, Target Field.
Yeah.
Great hitter's park.
Oh.
Everybody was impressed with the way the ball flew. Of course, the Twins were the ones that hit 7 home runs to start that series. Corbin goes to 2-1 on Martin Prado. A 1-out single by Adeiny Echeverria. And Martin Prado sitting on a 2-1 offering. Prado, a Diamondback, was traded from Atlanta to here. Smokes it into center field, and that's a hit. And so the trends that we talked about for Prado, best in the National League on the road and one of the best against lefties, bears some fruit here with a line drive hit.
Yeah, Corbin just missed his spot. That was supposed to be a backdoor breaking ball. It ended up breaking over the middle, and Prado was all over it, laces it into center field. Marlins have men on first and second with 1 out now, with Christian Yelich up, who just hit a triple his last time at bat.
Yelich driving that ball down the right field line, just out of the reach of Yasmani Tomas. Yelich and then Ozuna in a 1-0 start for Miami. Patrick Corbin was an all-star back in 2013. See Etch at second, Prado at first. National League All-Star representing the Diamondbacks. And then Tommy John surgery in 2014. Played his junior college ball in Marianna, Florida, Chipola Junior College, which boasts a pretty impressive alumni game, I would expect, with Russell Martin, Jose Bautista, Adam Lowen, Matt Gamble,
Wow.
Patrick Corbin. Also the hometown of Marlins catcher Jeff Mathis. And you don't see that very often. Yelich Getting called out on a strike. And a good pitch here by Corbin.
Yeah, that ball came in and snuck and caught the inside corner. Not only was it on the inside corner, it was down at the knees on the inside corner. Just almost as perfect as a pitch you can make.
No argument from Yelich. Here now, Ozuna. Marcel stays hot with a line drive single into right that knocked in the only run of the game. After a 4-hit night last night, 7 hits total in that Minnesota series. Fouled at the plate. Other teams in the East tonight, 2 of them matched up in D.C. That ball game just went final. Steven Strasburg is now 10-0 as the Nationals beat the Phillies by a score of 9-6. Strasburg 7 innings, 4 runs, 10 strikeouts, 1 walk. Saw where the Phillies put Vince Velasquez on the disabled list, their young hard-throwing starter. White Sox designated for assignment Jimmy Rollins today. Matt Latos also DFA'd in the last 24 hours with the Sox. Ozuna got a 2-1 pitch here and pulls it foul. T-Mobile brings you greater coverage of baseball. Petey's Hot Laser Show is back in Boston. Robinson Cano having a really nice start to his season up in Seattle. And Jimmy Rollins designated for assignment. Wouldn't be surprised if somebody who needs a veteran infielder gives Mr. Rollins a shot to continue playing this year. 2-2. And Ozuna chases. Ball in the dirt. Castillo digs it out and throws him out. And Miami leads 2. 1-0. Marlins. If you've got a group and you want to bring them to Marlins Park, you can get a great deal on some tickets and a personalized experience. Call the Marlins Group sales team, 1-877-MARLINS. Go to marlins.com/groups and plan your perfect family outing, birthday, or networking events. First pitch swing, and that ball crushed to center. Ozuna back, and it looks up off the wall. Nick Ahmed rolls into second with a loud double.
Ozuna does a great job ranging back here, going hard to the wall, but pulling up before he got too far in there. See him stop right there, realizing he's not going to catch it. Perfect one hop. I would like to see him throw that ball to third base because that's a guaranteed double. He's got to understand how far he ran and that there's no play at second. Keep the ball going to the base ahead of the base runner, but still a great job playing it off the wall on that carom. One hop, perfectly done.
This is really a unique outfield when the ball goes in those gaps or just to the left or the right of the center fielder. See kind of a flat center field the way the building is built with a high wall in center. Bunt situation. Corbin is a really good hitter as well. Wheel plays on, and the Marlins throw it away. Nicolino into center field.
Yeah, this is one of those self-inflicted arrows right here, self-inflicted wounds where even if Nicolino, you don't even have to throw that ball if you don't have the right grip. He just held on to it a little bit too long. Sometimes when pitchers are spinning around like that, they have to pick up that target. Sometimes they pick it up late, and that causes an inaccurate throw.
Well, even with Corbin up, Miami's infield is back. And Corbin is a .310 hitter. His 9 hits leads all pitchers. And a breaking ball misses out. It's 1-0. Corbin has 2 RBIs on the season as well. As Preston pointed out in his scouting report, Corbin in junior college was a basketball player as well as baseball. That liner down the left field line is fair, and the Diamondbacks had tied it, and Corbin has his second double of the season.
Now, unfortunately, because of that throwing error, you're right back where you were before they had that attempted pickoff with a man on second with nobody out. But it's a tie ball game right now. So now is the time where you definitely want to execute, try to minimize the damage in this inning.
Two doubles to open the third. Now the top of the order. Gene Segura, Michael Bourn, and Paul Goldschmidt. Segura struck out back in the first. Nicolino comes in and gets a strike. Segura got his chance to play in the big leagues with the Milwaukee Brewers, originally an Angel. He bunts, and it's a good one. Prado bare hands and makes a very nice play to get the out, but it moves Corbin within 90 feet.
That is an exceptional bunt. You force the third baseman to field the ball. That takes the play at third out of the pitcher. Force him to make a tough play. You get your job done, get the base run over to third. That's good fundamental baseball, Rich.
Now let's see what the Marlins do with their infield. With Bourn, looks like Miami is going to bring the infield somewhat in. And remember, this is such a quick surface. You don't have to bring them all the way in. Plus, you've got Corbin, the pitcher, running at third. So that's why you see Echeverria and Rojas out on the dirt.
I would possibly even take the chance and move Yelich in a little bit more in left field right here. Lefty on lefty, Bourn is more liable to drop a ball in front of Yelich with that inside out swing, then drive it over his head.
It's a big hitter for Nicolino as he tries to keep it at just the 1 run.
In more than one way, it's a big hitter for him because he needs to get this out, needs to get it without a run crossing the plate, and There's that guy that's lurking on deck right now, Rich, and Goldschmidt.
Horn's had a really nice career. Two-time All-Star, 2010 and 12. Won 2 Gold Gloves as well, 09 and 2010. Born 33 years old. No call from Ted Barrett, and it's 3-1. It had plenty of the plate and just the very bottom of the zone, just on the very edge. Bourne sends it right center field. Stanton is there, and he makes the catch. And Corbin tags and scores, and Michael Bourne gives Arizona the lead.
Sacrifice bunt, sacrifice fly. Fundamental baseball.
Our telecast tomorrow night, Jose Fernandez, and the Diamondback starter for tomorrow is still in question. Goldschmidt takes a strike. Zach Godley is rumored to be the guy. It's an Adam Conley start on Sunday, but Jose tomorrow for the Fish. Goldschmidt rips one. Ozuna trying to cut it off. Does. Goldschmidt, big turn. And he'll hold at first base. 2 for 2 is Goldschmidt. And the Diamondbacks have had good swings against Nicolino here in the 3rd inning.
Goldschmidt, one of those few power hitters that has a really short swing. So that setup, stays behind the ball. That's why he hits for such a high average. Very little body movement in that swing once he gets set up. He doesn't go forward with the body. The hands are able to work, get that barrel through, and he's so strong.
Now Castillo. One of the things you notice about this ballpark compared to, say, a Marlins Park or even Target Field, which holds about 39,000, is it's huge. This is a big, big ballpark. The footprint of land and the way this ballpark was built, it shortens in center fields. Not a lot of seats out in that center field area, and then widens down near the foul poles. And the roof opens from the middle and slides out. They do have a pool and a hot tub. No Dodgers allowed out there in right center field. So not nearly as boisterous as the Cleveland. Now see the very top of that roof, it opens right in the middle. You see that little above the clock, that sliver of sunshine? Well, it's not sunshine, it's twilight outside. But the roof opens up right in the middle and slides out to the sides. And Nicolino right now, who sailed through the first 2 innings and has fallen behind the cleanup man Wellington Castillo at 3-0. We got a nice restaurant out in left center and in left field. The PetSmart patio in left center, and Friday's Front Row Grill. Giancarlo went up there in one of his long home runs in this ballpark. strike. Missed in. And so a long inning continues now for Nicolino. Didn't miss by a whole lot. And Juan Nieves trots out. When you played in the outfield here, and you were a Rocky and obviously played as a Marlin here, did you ever spend time watching to see what was going on by the pool and the hot tub?
Oh, yeah, I think you always notice because sometimes there's little parties out there that get together, but you have to kind of limit that to in between innings because
Did you ever hit a ball out there into the pool in the tub?
I do. I actually hit one in the pool one night against Byung-Hyun Kim when he was pitching here. Hit it right center field, right in that pool on the fly in a splash. I even remember it was an 0-2 count, Rich. That's how us old ball players are, though. You remember certain ones.
I
like,
know.
you know.
What'd you have for pregame meal?
I have no idea. I was never one of those guys that ate the same thing, though.
Oh.
I couldn't do that, like drive to the ballpark the same way or wear the same underwear. There's some guys who took that stuff way too far.
All right. Yeah. Here's the first pitch to Peter O'Brien, who swings and misses. If you are a Miami Prep fan, you know the name. If you're a University of Miami Hurricane fan, you know the name. Peter O'Brien played his senior season at Miami after transferring from Bethune-Cookman. First team all ACC, even though he missed his final 17 games with a broken wrist. Went on to be drafted second in the second round by the Yankees. O'Brien swings and misses here. Born in Hialeah, Braddock High School in Miami. That's the alma mater of, I believe, Sean Rodriguez. And Henry Owens, former Marlin pitcher. O'Brien got to the big leagues with Arizona last year for 8 games. He has homered in the big leagues. And he was really hot in Reno, which is a great place to get hot. A terrific hitter's environment. You're at altitude, air's dry, and it's Reno. 17 homers, 52 driven in 51 games. Got him on a breaking ball. Nicolino strikes out O'Brien. Strands 2, but not before Arizona takes a 2-1 lead.
Have taken a 2-1 lead. Giancarlo Stanton due up for the Marlins. It's obviously been a frustrating stretch for Stanton with all the strikeouts and a batting average that's dipped below 200. I had a chance to talk to Stanton today about his struggles at the plate, and he said, I just got to keep working. I can't think so much about it. I can't keep talking so much about it. Everyone wants to have a conversation. Everyone thinks they have the answer, but all I can do is keep working. Guys.
There's no question he's one of the hardest workers on this ball club, and he always has been. In his first at bat, he had a fly ball to deep right field. He's got a count of 1-1. We talked about his batting practice with Barry Bonds today. Stanton swings and misses at a breaking ball.
And there's no question he's struggling. He knows he's struggling. The problem that I have is people tend to start saying that he doesn't care because he's struggling. Well, he has the same demeanor as he did when he was hitting all the home runs. He was a quiet guy then. He wasn't very vocal then. You know, so I don't know. Like, I think the demeanor's the same, but I think people are letting the numbers dictate what they feel about him or how they feel about his personality. And I think that's a little bit unfair.
Swing and a miss. Corbin with a breaking ball. And Patrick Corbin has struck out 3 consecutive. Yelich, Ozuna, and now Stanton. And so 1 out in the 4th. And that brings up Chris Johnson. Johnson bounced out to short. Corbin, one of those guys who blossomed late into baseball. He did not play baseball until his junior year in high school. He's from Syracuse, so he's a big basketball guy. As I noted, his first year of junior college, he played both basketball and baseball. If you want to see Patrick Corbin dunk, just search him on YouTube. There's a great video of him, a 360 dunk. He's 6'3", 207. He misses out. It's 3-1.
2-1 changeup, didn't quite get down. Johnson's in a good hitting count now.
Bounces one over the middle, backhanded by Segura, and on a hop, Gene Segura gets Chris Johnson.
I mean, I'm writing that down as 4-3, but I feel like there should be something else we score that as, because as far as he went to go get this ball, he's on the shortstop side of second base when he throws this ball, and it's got so much on it, and it's, wow. That's supposed to be a base hit. That's a whole lot of range up the middle, and you couple that with a strong arm to get it there.
Gene Segura.
That's why it's a big leagues, Rich.
Guy who was a shortstop for most of his career.
Well, he played a little shortstop right there.
Rojas is 0 for 1. Now, I like this look by the Diamondbacks of all the uniform combinations. To right, that's Tomas. Almost overran it, and he reaches back and makes the catch. The 1-2-3-4 for Patrick Corbin. Jose Day tomorrow in the desert. He goes for 9 straight. Jessica Blaylock at Chase Field will host Marlins Live, which starts at 9:30 tomorrow night. We'll hear from Jose before the ball game on his start. He has won 8 straight. That is tied for the club record. So a chance to set a Marlins team record by winning 9 consecutive starts tomorrow night. Justin Nicolino, a bumpy ride in the 3rd. Gave up a couple of doubles to open the inning. A sacrifice fly. Also a single and a walk. And that's how Arizona got their 2 runs. Jake Lamb, the University of Washington product. Young hitter. Yasmani Tomas, Nick Ahmed. The Mets in Milwaukee again tonight. 1-1 Mets and Brewers, bottom 8. Good curveball by Nicolino. Preston, let's do some bat flipping, shall we?
Oh, this looks like fun.
Even Junior. Oh, that's epic bat flip. And you can bat flip your way to San Diego, the All-Star Game. Post a video of your bat flip to @Fox Sports with the hashtag Fox Bat Flip Contest. Ah, even Little League. Visit foxsports.com/batflip for more information. Now that is not file footage. Those are bat flips cold across the baseball universe by the crack staff putting that together. And I believe they stole many of those from the 10-run reel.
Wow, that was pretty good stuff, Rich. The kid, though, I think the kid stole the show.
Well, wait a minute. The kid hit the home run to begin it, right? Junior?
Yeah, well, yeah, the other kid, yeah. Wow.
Nick Ahmed now, he started the uprising in the 3rd with a double. I think I asked you this a couple weeks ago. Your most epic bat flip in your career?
I don't know if I had an epic bat flip. I do remember a little 360 spit after hitting a home run against the closer for the Mets at the time, Armando Benitez. I think we were down by a run or something like that, and I hit a 3-run home run against Benitez to put us up. Kind of a game-winning situation. Yeah.
As Jack McKeon would call him, Beniquez. 2-0 pitches in, and it's 3-0.
Lou Piniella was pretty good about that, not quite getting guys' names right as well, wasn't he?
Ichiro was one of his favorites. And Ibanez for our good friend Raul. Three and one. That one's straight back and out of play. So you like this combination of Diamondback uniform here?
I do like it. I like it. I like the letters. I like the colors.
You like the little teal that's worked in there too?
I like these a whole lot better than I like the road. To me, the road unis with that pewterish gray, it's a little too hard to see, especially for our job to try to recognize numbers and names from this distance. It's kind of tough, but I do like this look. It's a very fashion-forward baseball statement, I would say, with the stripe that doesn't go all the way up the legs, the scales that kind of look like reptile scales on the bottom of the leg and the top of the back of the jersey.
Nicolino reached out, couldn't get it. And Ahmed has his second hit, and Nicolino's not happy with himself.
It's one of those that he kind of hit a changeup back at Nicolino. It was on a line, but it wasn't as hard. So you'll see Nicolino's glove get there a little early, and then he's like trying to find out where the ball is. So he got fooled by the speed of the ball. He actually probably would have caught it if it was hit a little bit harder.
Well, your first instinct as a pitcher is that's coming back at you.
Right.
And instead of a line drive out, it's a 2-out single. And here's Corbin, as we pointed out. He's dangerous with the bat. Diamondback pitchers are the best hitting group in baseball. Etch to second, safe. And Corbin is 2 for 2 with an infield hit. He has 11 hits already this year.
I mean, that's well placed right there. That's a base hit no matter what. Good job by Ahmed beating that throw. Good effort by Etch, though, to try to get an out there. That's really his only play on that ball, considering where he started to where he had to go actually finally catch it.
Diamondbacks now with 6 hits. And Segura waiting at the plate. He has struck out and has a sacrifice bunt.
Nicolino needs to start getting some quick outs. Get some bad contact early in the count.
To right on a hop. Stanton has it. Round third. Here comes Ahmed. Stanton's throw coming home, and he's in. (3-1) Arizona.
But where this ball bounced actually forced Stanton to hold back a little bit to wait for the ball to bounce. He couldn't get as much behind it as he wanted to. Strong throw, but not in time. Corbin moves up to second.
Michael Bourne up now. One and 0 to Bourne. Miami got a run in the first and held that lead for a couple of innings. Diamondbacks 2 in the third and 1 here in the fourth. To center. Ozuna makes the catch. Arizona one more and a 3-1 lead. Patrick Corbin has been busy tonight. Couple hits and a 3-1 lead. We check in with Jessica Blaylock.
Well, hey, Rich, the NCAA tournament has kicked off for college baseball, and there are several Marlins who have connections and will be following the action closely. First off, Christian Yelich, he was committed to Miami, but did not go. He's going to keep an eye on those games. We know that JT Realmuto, also, he has that connection to Oklahoma State. Didn't go to school there, but had a lot of family members that went there. Eduardo Perez and Jeff Mathis, they both love Florida State. They're going to keep an eye on that matchup very closely. And AJ Ramos, who went to Texas Tech, he will be following the matchup between Texas Tech and South Carolina. So a lot of Marlins baseball. Most of those guys said that they follow Twitter for updates, but they are going to follow the action very closely.
All right, thank you, Jessica. Good luck to all the Florida teams. Good luck to the Hurricanes.
AJ Ramos is Texas Tech is playing against University of South Carolina, my dad's alma mater. Coach Tim Tadlock and Texas Tech is going to take on the Gamecocks.
Good luck to the Gators. Good luck to the Seminoles. All three of those schools with a lot of players selected in yesterday and today's Major League Draft, which continued today. And as Jessica illustrated, Jeff Mathis, a Florida State fan, he was a quarterback in Marianna, Florida, and was thinking about heading to Florida State to play quarterback when the Angels took him. High draft pick, signed him, and then started his baseball career. Ahmed on the run. Mathis is out number 1 here in the 5th. And here comes Justin Nicolino, and I guess so much focus is on the first round yesterday on MLB Network, and rightfully so. Nice work by Jeff Conine and Bill Beck as the draft representatives for the Fish, but you've got two guys starting in this game, and Nicolino and Corbin, who are second-round picks. Corbin, a second-round pick of the Angels in '09, and Nicolino, second-round pick out of University High School in Orlando by the Blue Jays. One and two. Breaking ball in. Miami, just to keep you up to date, is leading Boston College in the top of the 9th. 12-6 the last score we had there. Nicolino gets a breaking ball, flips it out into center. And Patrick Corbin, ever since he gave up the 2 hits in the 3rd inning, has locked it down, retiring 7 straight. Here's Echeverria, who's 1 for 2. You did not play in college. You went right from high school into professional baseball.
Correct.
Growing up in South Carolina, did you ever go watch Clemson play? Or
actually
South
committed
Carolina?
to Clemson. I committed to Clemson. I did go see Carolina play.
Liner to right. You would have looked good in those white shoes at Clemson.
Rich, I make everything look good.
Yes, you do. 3-1 Arizona. Dodge is the presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. Night falling in the Valley of the Sun. And inside Chase Field, out in the Sandlot, Paul Goldschmidt faces Justin Nicolino, and that would be strike one. Goldschmidt, couple hits. Nicolino has been touched for 3 runs on 7 hits.
Good pitch there from Nicolino. Ball had a lot of depth to it.
Trying to catch the outside corner. Goldschmidt, kind of a hidden gem when the Diamondbacks drafted him out of Texas State. Liner to left. Yelich on a hop.
Yeah, those are the mistakes Nicolino's got to stay away from. Got a 1-2 count. You're trying to get this ball way in, and it's up, and it doesn't quite get in, and that costs you a base hit. When you have that big of an advantage like a hitter against Goldschmidt, you got to try to get that ball in an almost unhittable spot. Even if you miss there, you still got 2 pitches to play with because the count's only 2-2.
Gold Glove, couple Silver Sluggers, 3-time All-Stars Goldschmidt. Here's Castillo. Into the bat, and he fouls it off. And for all of you players out there, college players or high school players who were not taken in the first round or the second or the third or the fourth or the fifth, Paul Goldschmidt is one of the premier players in the game. He was an 8th round selection. Nicolino trying to make sure Goldschmidt knows he's there. Goldschmidt swiped the bag back in the first.
Look at those little one hopper over there at first that Johnson dug out of the dirt for him. Surprised the umpires let him keep that ball. Looked like it might have skipped a little.
By the way, Miami did win that game. 12-7 is the final over Boston College. Chip Hale's Arizona Wildcats beat Mississippi State in Starkville 1-0. Busted bat in the hole. Echeverria, and again his only play at second, and again the Diamondbacks get that runner to second base just in front of the throw. Another infield hit. This one by Wellington Castillo.
Just doing everything he can to try to make that play. Too far to go, too far to throw to get it out.
And Nicolino now has to face Peter O'Brien, the former Miami Hurricane. Florida State and Florida tomorrow evening. Curveball for a strike to O'Brien, who was bounced out, struck out. Marlins last night got a 6-inning start from Tom Kohler. Mike Dunn, Dustin McGowan, A.J. Ramos, and Brian Ellington all worked out of the pen. That's been the spot they've been throwing O'Brien, is that breaking ball down under the hands and ends up down around the feet.
Big breaking ball, sweeping, ends up down off the plate. That's a put away pitch. That's where he's trying to get the ball into Goldschmidt down there. Instead, it ended up about belt high.
Haven't looked at the highlight to see if he flipped the bat, but Edwin Encarnacion hit a walk-off homer in the 10th as the Blue Jays at home beat Baltimore. Yankees won their 5th straight, beating Detroit. I told you that Steven Strasburg got a win tonight. He's 10-0. Hit well and into that corner, and that's real trouble. Goldschmidt's going to score. Trail runner is Castillo. Round third he comes, and he will score as well. And Jake Lamb makes it 5-1 Arizona.
Breaking ball kind of stops in the middle. Not a bad pitch, but Jake Lamb just does a really good job going down there to get it. Pulls it into the corner, stays on that breaking ball. Even though Stanton picks it up cleanly, good aggressive base running by the Arizona Diamondbacks. Trail runner comes in all the way from first base on that play.
2-run double for Lamb, who's driven in 37. And Tomas fouls it at the plate. You know, if you're looking for a Diamondback position player for the All-Star game, Goldschmidt certainly is a popular choice, but Jake Lamb has numbers that are deserving. 11 homers, 15 doubles. He's slugging well over 500. Driven in 37. Into left. Late start by Lamb. He just arrives at third. And Tomas sneaks a hit through. 4 hits in the inning. Miami's bullpen is working hard.
Well, watch Lamb. Well, he has to freeze because the third baseman does possibly have a play on this ball. So he's got to freeze to make sure he doesn't get backdoored by the throw from Prado to Rojas at second base. So that's actually a good base running play. You'd like to see him get going, but that's a smart play, making sure you hold so that you don't get thrown behind you at second base. Still ends up at third. But these Diamondback hitters are just finding a way. Even the ones that they don't hit hard seemingly are in the exact right place to get a hit.
Nick Whitgren in Miami's pen. Diamondbacks with runners in scoring position tonight, 4 for 8. And Nicolino now has to face Nick Ahmed, who has doubled and singled. Ahmed has a younger brother in the Dodgers organization, also an infielder. A UConn product. There's that first and third safety squeeze that is so difficult to defend. And Ahmed could not get it down.
Well, it's difficult to defend when you run the bases correctly. When your guys get a good lead down there and when they understand what keys to read, whether to go or not. And Dave McKay, who's the outfield instructor, also helps with the base running, teaches base running with the Diamondbacks, is one of the better base running instructors in all of baseball.
A ball, a strike, and an out. There's Dave McKay.
There he is over there at first base. Always so alert on the bases. Make sure the base runners know what they're doing, what they're looking for.
Long-time Tony La Russa lieutenant.
In many ways, still is.
Yes. From Oakland to St. Louis. Count 2-1. Wittgren is ready.
I have a tremendous respect for coaches who don't mind coaching. And I know that sounds really weird, but there's a lot of coaches who just kind of go about their day. Dave McKay is one of the coaches that I came across that he enjoys the work. He won't work you to death, but it's good, meaningful work, and you get something out of it. You feel like you accomplished something every day.
Chopper. Rojas turned. That was quick. And he got him on a 6-4-3 double play. Echeverria to Rojas to Johnson. 5-1 now, Arizona. Is brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. And by Checkers Fast Foodies. Know the deal.
Well, we got a 5-1 ball game here, but it very easily could have been 6-1 if not for the perfection on this double play. Watch the feed from Echeverria to Rojas. This feed goes to the backside on his throwing shoulder to Rojas right there. He doesn't have to bring that ball across his body to take that extra time. That ball gets off in such a hurry. That double play had to be perfect to be turned, and they did it perfectly.
Got a pair of really good glove men combining on that double play. Echeverria and Rojas, both plus defenders. Well, the Marlins, who had success early against Patrick Corbin, have been shut down of late. Corbin's retired 8 straight. Prado, Yelich, Ozuna, and if anybody reaches, Stanton and Chris Johnson. Remember, Corbin, his last time out, outdueled Jake Arrieta and beat the Cubs. Prado's lined out and singled. Ahmed gets the out. Time now for the Geico Marlins moment. Kevin Brown on this date in Marlins history, 1997, a World Championship year, and a no-hitter at Candlestick. Now Leiter making an appearance.
Who was playing first base there? Conine was in there playing first base.
There's Chef, there's a Lou.
Cliff Floyd, there's a hanging out in the background. CJ, oh yeah.
Bobby Bonilla, Alex
Fernandez, Alex Arias, who we had in the booth about a week ago. Well, actually, Craig had him on the sidelines about a week ago.
Yes, he did. There's Christian Yelich with Marcell Ozuna coming up. I believe that was the same game in which Craig had Rennie Stennett on. And Rennie Stennett told a story that I had never heard about Rod Carew.
That was a great story. It's amazing how baseball is. You can be around it as long as we have and hear something new.
Segura to first, and Yelich is out. And the story was, and Stennett, matter of fact, said, oh yeah, Rod Carew lived 3 doors from me. And said, by the way, did you know that Rod Carew was born on a train that was passing through town, and his mom went into labor on the train, and they had to call to see if there was a doctor on the train, and there was. And the doctor's name was Dr. Rodney Cline. And of course, Carew's full name is Rodney Cline Carew. And just yesterday, on my way to Target Field, walked by the Rod Carew statue in Minneapolis. It's just down from the Mary Tyler Moore statue. It's actually about 4 or 5 blocks from that. Ozuna takes out. Well, the outs just keep mounting for Patrick Corbin. And we told you he's a great athlete. In case you're not hooked up and you don't want to YouTube it, this is that 360.
Some hops right there. That's with relative ease, too.
6'3", 207.
I remember I used to be able to do that, Rich. Right now, just looking at it makes my knees hurt, though.
Really, a 360? Just like that? I thought
I see hops, Rich.
I see you with a hammer dunk.
All kinds.
Flying through the
right,
air.
didn't matter.
5-1 Arizona.
just a game. It's just a game. I play my way. Don't want no distraction from the action, from the action.
In Arizona, this series starting a 3-gamer with Preston Wilson, Jessica Blaylock, Rich Waltz with you. It was 1-0 Marlins, and since then it's been all Patrick Corbin and Diamondbacks. 5-1 here, and Corbin from that 9 spot is 2 for 2. Corbin on the mound has retired 11 straight. And Nicolino with a good curveball finishes him off for the first out of the 6th. All-Star voting, of course, the All-Star game in San Diego. Say hi to Jerry Coleman while you're there. And you can log on right now at Marlins.com and vote for your favorite Marlins, vote for your favorite major leaguers. Yeah, San Diego, such a great military city, and we will be there on Monday night. Marlins and Padres opening a 3-game set. 9-game tour of the United States for the Fish. 3 in Minnesota, 3 in Arizona, and 3 in San Diego. Segura drove in a run with a single his last time up. He's got another hit. Gene Segura channeling his all-star Brewer self.
Yeah, he is.
For whatever reason, he kind of stalled out in Milwaukee, but he's got it going again here in Arizona.
He had a couple nagging injuries there, and you know, I think the Brewers just kind of wanted to go in a different direction. And you see what a healthy Segura can do. See the range at second base, can probably still play shortstop. Still got that good arm and can definitely swing the bat.
And he can run. Michael Bourne is 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly. $27,000 here at Chase Field.
A nice crowd
for a Friday night. There are fireworks after the game. Jeff Mathis and Nicolino on the mound right now. Yeah, I believe for fireworks, I hope the roof gets rolled open.
If not, it's going to be very interesting, Rich, and very loud.
And we do get a thumbs up on that. There was some talk that they may have opened the roof tonight because the temperatures in and around Phoenix were not as hot as expected.
Yeah, I think around game time it was only about 93 and 91.
Which is rather mild around here this time of year. Marlins usually are here right around this time, and the temperature is usually 106 to 110.
That's it's 90 degrees right now.
Wow.
If one more person says, yeah, but it's a dry 109, I might just snap though, Rich. 109 is still hot. All right. It's 109, but it's a dry 109. Get away from me. I don't need you in my life. That's still hot.
It is. I mean, it feels just as hot on the pavement. Runner goes, a little hit and run, and Bourne flips it into the seats foul. .85 pitches for Nicolino. Don Mattingly would love him to get Bourne here. Now you've got Goldschmidt on deck, who's got 3 hits, so this may be the last hitter that Nicolino faces. Wickren has been replaced by Brian Ellington. And Juan Nieves on the phone. Ball, a strike, an out, and a 4-run lead for Arizona. And it's 1-2. A lot of the East Coast games have finished. Atlanta at home beat the Cubs 5-1. How about that? Nationals beat the Phillies in DC 9-6. Steven Strasburg now 10-0. That Mets Milwaukee game is still 1-1, and now it is in the 10th inning at Miller Park. Giants and Dodgers opening one up tonight. That's a Cueto Kershaw game. Good fastball and a strikeout. 2-1 Dodgers lead the Giants. That's midway through, headed to the bottom of the 5th. This June, greatest golfers in the world converge on the historic Oakmont Country Club. The 116th U.S. Open Championship live coverage begins Thursday, June 16th on FS1 and continues through Sunday. You can watch the entire tournament live on Fox Sports Go, the tournament on Fox. And Preston Wilson, I can't wait to see all the drones.
Oh, yeah.
In action.
Those shots are awesome, aren't they?
They are. As we expected, that's the last hitter for Nick Galino. A West Kendall Toyota call to the bullpen. Trip, sun setting in the desert. Marlins are here tomorrow night, 9:30 start. It's a Jose Fernandez start, and then Sunday as well. Then into the Jeff Conine nuclear submarine and surfacing in San Diego in time to get Dick Enberg's autograph, as the Marlins and the Padres will play a 3-gamer starting on Monday and Tuesday night, 9:30 for Marlins Live. And then a Wednesday afternoon game. Ichiro fans are here, though. No Ichiro yet in the ball game, but probably a pinch hitting appearance to come. Goldschmidt against Brian Ellington.
Oh, this is going to be power versus power right here.
Yes, Ellington upper 90 stuff. Goldschmidt 3 singles tonight. And Ellington misses outside. In his last 13 games, Goldschmidt average over 400. That one way wide of the plate and popping out of the end of Jeff Mathis' glove.
Yeah, that's a ball out of the hand right there.
That's a wild pitch.
Yeah, there's not much Mathis can do with that. That's mid to high 90s, reaching way across your body. That's
Separate your shoulder time.
yeah.
And so Miami figures just walk Goldschmidt and go after Wellington Castillo. So an intentional walk. Castillo will come up. The Cardinals, this is an odd extra inning score. In 12 innings, St. Louis beat Pittsburgh 9-3.
Rich, I got a question for you. We talked about the other night of the intentional walk going on the walk totals. Should those pitches count against a pitch count as well?
No,
I don't think so either.
no, wipe that out. Castillo swings and misses. Counts 0-1.
Because you got an at bat right there with Goldschmidt where they were trying to pitch to him for the first 2 pitches. And then the last 2 pitches, they said they're going to walk him. Well, that's not a full 4-pitch intentional walk. But those last 2 pitches aren't really pitches either.
But what do pitch counts really mean? I mean, pitch counts are for organizations to track wear and tear on pitchers, right? I mean, there's no award at the end of the year.
Well, and
Iron Mike pitch count award goes to the guy who threw the most pitches.
Yeah, and pitch counts don't mean the same thing to every type of pitcher. You know, if you're a thumber, kind of a Greg Maddux type, 90 pitches for him is not as stressful as 90 pitches for an Aroldis Chapman. You know, somebody like that. So it's totally different.
0-2 runner goes. Mathis throw down to third, and that even surprised Prado. Gene Segura figured, why not take third?
This is one of those when you're Wellington Castillo, though. Like, here, man, you're already in scoring position. Just let me swing the bat. Like, that to me is not, that's not a good stolen base. It's a stolen base that you got, but it's not a good stolen base because you're already in scoring position. There's 2 outs. You're running on contact anyway. So anything that gets through, you're going to score. That's a stolen base that's for yourself. That's not a team stolen base.
And that's from a hitter's perspective, in that you, A, want that at bat to last. You don't want the out at third. And is it a distraction to you?
It's an absolute distraction when you're a hitter and you got movement out there behind the pitcher. You can't help but notice a guy taking off. I really don't like 2 out stolen bases from second base. It's because the runner's going on contact anyway. Almost every base hit you're going to score for sure, unless it's a rocket right at the outfielder. So it really doesn't really do much, in my opinion. If you're 2 runs down and you're trying to take that chance and the pitcher's giving you that, then you got to get it easily, and the trail runner also needs to come.
Brian Ellington with a 1-2 count on Arizona's catcher Wellington Castillo. A swing and a miss. Down goes Castillo. Ellington gets the strikeout, and that was with Goldschmidt on the move from first. 5-1 Arizona. into the 7th. Let's check in with Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Rich, the night is over for Justin Nicolino. I had a chance to talk to Marlins pitching coach Juan Nieves, asked him what he saw from Nicolino tonight, and he said the poise was there. We know that Nico is a guy that likes to pitch to contact. Unfortunately, ground balls were finding gaps tonight. He felt like he was aggressive with his fastball, but left some fastballs and breaking balls over the plate, and the Diamondbacks were able to take advantage of that. So overall, he just felt like Nicolino could have been a little bit better in certain spots as far as execution goes.
All right, thank you, Jess. Meanwhile, Patrick Corbin and Preston, you compared the two. Nicolino and Corbin, very similar, you felt. Corbin has been a little better than Nicolino. He's up 5-1. He misses down low to Giancarlo Stanton. Fly ball out and a strikeout for Stanton tonight. Chris Johnson and Miguel Rojas also coming up.
Good spot there, down and away by Corbin.
Breaking ball hammered in the gap, left center, and Stanton around first on his way to second. O'Brien picks it up off the track, and Giancarlo Stanton has a double.
Smokes this ball in the gap. Nice to get some nice, hard, solid contact. Stanton, boom, stays on that breaking ball. I thought O'Brien was going to be able to cut this off, but that ball just beat him to the spot. Easy double for Stanton. Good sign to see right there.
Baby steps.
Hey, you gotta take it one step at a time and focus on the positives and stay positive. Because nobody's going to help you. You got to do it yourself.
7th double on the season for Stanton. Johnson's bounced out twice. And Corbin keeps him off balance with a changeup. It's 0-1. 108 miles an hour off the bat. And incidentally, if you're a StatCast fan and you follow the numbers around StatCast, you know that Stanton's double play ball last night has major significance. Stanton last night struck out his first 4 times, and then he hit a shot up the middle. It was turned into a double play. StatCast recorded that ball off of his bat at 123.9 miles an hour. It's the fastest exit speed off a bat ever recorded. And Johnson strikes out. Here it was. Didn't seem that fast to us at the time, and we really didn't make any note of it. And it wasn't until after the game that I saw the number and that people started talking about it.
Well, the ground absorbed a lot of it. That first hop right in front of home plate, but from the ball hitting the bat to it hit the ground, I think that's where that exit speed comes. So it had slowed down some after that second hop when it got to the second baseman, but when it left the bat before it hit the ground, that's where that exit speed was. Marlins need to find a way to get a run or two right here this inning. Try to put some pressure on the Diamondbacks because they've been cruising since the first inning. Marlins really haven't done much since they scored in the first. A couple hits in the third inning. Other than that, not much of a challenge to Corbin. They need to put something, get a couple hits together here, put some pressure on them.
Yeah, 11 straight set down by Corbin for the Stanton double. Rojas is lined out and bounced out. Bottom of the order, bottom 4 in the order. Johnson, Rojas, Mathis, and Nicolino are 0 for 9 combined.
You just don't want that guy getting that comfortable out there. You know, let him get in the groove, feeling like he can throw anything he wants to anytime. And Corbin's at 88 or 89 pitches right now. He's been cruising. .88 pitches. Got to get him a little uncomfortable out there. And how do you do that? Get a couple hits in a row, put some pressure on him. Give him something more to think about.
Rojas with a big swing and a miss. And that will send a chill down the spine of Marlin fans. Tyler Clippard, whom the Marlins saw when the Diamondbacks were here.
Great mics down there in the bullpen.
Mike's so good that you can actually hear the bullpen phone ring. The last time I heard it, I thought maybe that was my cell phone or your cell phone. You know, they've simplified the phones in a lot of ballparks. There was a time where there would be 3 or 4 of those little compartments with a phone in it. There's a couple there. There's the video coach phone and now the bullpen phone. There were some dugouts that had phones to the front office to I mean, a variety of places in the ballpark. I can remember in Oakland long ago, and Charlie Finley used to call down. Dick Williams was never real pleasant when he answered the phone. There's usually a phone to the press box sometimes.
See how that play was scored. So Matt Williams there.
Jose Fernandez goes tomorrow night. Marlins Live starts at 9:30. They have allowed electronics in the dugouts, and that started at some point last year, but now teams are loaded up with iPads. You can't have, I don't think you can have cellular service or Wi-Fi, but you can load up video clips of relievers or starters or hitters for pitchers. Mathis pulls it wide of third. There are the iPads. There's the old-fashioned charts as well.
You know, I think those things have a place, but I also think players need to write things down. I know the way I remember things is writing things down. It makes a bigger impression on my mind. And sometimes when that information is so hand-fed to you, you don't retain it as well. And I remember one of my friend's phone numbers from when I was in like the 3rd grade because I used to write it down. And now I think sometimes with the tablets, all the information is so ready for you that you read it and you can remember it short term, but it doesn't make that long-term imprint.
He wasn't a Marlin for long, but Carlos Delgado used to have a notepad and jot down every at bat.
Oh, I did the same thing. I had folders for every team. So if we're playing the Dodgers, I'd take my Dodgers folder, open it up. It had all their pitches in there. I had each pitcher had a sheet. If the pitcher got traded to a different team, I'd move him to a different folder.
0-2.
I would have the count, the pitch, even the catcher that was working with him on that particular day.
So now wait a minute. I see you operate in the booth. You're very techno savvy, much like Eduardo Perez.
I am.
So what about you coming into the dugout if you were a hitter today and just typing it into your iPad?
But do you notice whenever I have to do some pre-show or pre-work that I'm always writing something down?
That's true.
So I have my notebooks and I write stuff down. So even though I have the video to look at whenever I need to remember something, I write it down. And that way I remember it so much easier. I don't know why. That's just the way my mind works. And I'm sure there are thousands of other people like that as well. But the point that I was getting to is I think these guys need to write it down so that it can be coming from them instead of coming from a third-party source as far as a tablet. Even though they may see it, write down what they see. And I think they'll retain that information better.
2-2.
This is great. I'm seeing Patrick Corbin be uncomfortable for the first time in this ball game. Maybe it's the pitch count's getting up. He's up to 96 now. But got a couple runners on base. It's less than 2 outs. He's got a little bit more to think about. Mathis is having a good at bat, seeing the pitch as well. Smoked that 1-ball foul down the line hard.
Cole Gillespie on deck. 3-2 to Mathis. It's low and in, and bags are loaded. And we'll see if that's it for Corbin.
Well, they're going to wait till they announce Gillespie before they do anything.
Yep, and if they do, and here comes Chip Hale. Now, if he goes to get Clippard, the question would be, will Don Mattingly pull the trigger on Derek Dietrich or Justin Bour?
I would not be surprised if they pull Gillespie back and get one of those lefties out of there, which I think is going to happen.
Chip Hale's out. He wants the ball. Clippard's coming in. There's Bour walking behind Don Mattingly, and it looks like it is going to be Justin Bour for the Marlins. And this is a West Kendall Toyota call to the bullpen. For the Diamondbacks, felt like it was kind of on autopilot for a while. All of a sudden, this is a big moment and an opportunity for Miami to get closer here. Toyota inside look on the road. The Marlins, the best in baseball, at 288 average. With Boston, the Cardinals, the Angels, and Seattle right behind. And an intriguing matchup here in a guy in Clippard, whom the Marlins know quite well, and Justin Bour. All 9 of his homers have come against righties. He's hit changeups out on numerous occasions, and that happens to be the best pitch of this man, Tyler Clippard. Don't even look at those numbers, which are good, but his numbers against the Marlins in his career are just absolutely filthy. Bour takes a fastball that misses out. Pinch a penny presents Justin Bour. Against the Marlins, 58th game, a 1.71 ERA. Change up driven, right field deep, down the line, and gone! And Justin Bour with a grand slam off a changeup, and the Marlins have tied it.
Something Justin Bour has done very well this year is hit for power against changeups. You talked about it in between innings. Barry Bonds is happy. Don Mattingly's happy. Justin Bour is ecstatic. Big time grand slam to put the hurt on Tyler Clippard. Tie ball game, baby.
Justin Bour doesn't miss many changeups, and he didn't miss this one. And Miami has tied it at 5. Here's Echeverria. And Clippard unnerved a bit, uncorks one high and tight. A grand slam for Justin Bour.
It's amazing what happens to a pitcher when you put a little pressure on him. Corbin had been cruising along, hadn't really allowed many base runners. Then all of a sudden the Marlins get something going. He issues a couple walks. Having good at bats can change the game. It's not always going to end up like this. And wow, look at the big fella unload on that thing. No, that's when you know it off the bat.
Short and quick, and a powerful man.
Oh, let it eat, big man.
I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get another changeup from a right-hander for the rest of the year.
I wouldn't throw it.
Fastball misses out.
But that's when you can do that, when you do a good job of keeping your hands back. And when Justin Bour is going really well, his hands really stay back in that launch position well.
And Clippard.
Oh, he's all out of sorts right now.
He is. He walks Echeverria on 4 pitches, and he didn't come close. So if you're Chip Hale and you see that, that's got to give you concern.
Rich, 2 nights in a row, 7th inning run.
Fox Tracks barely tracked that one down.
Wow,
that's almost on the word Fox Tracks.
That's about a header there, Rich. What a turn of events. Corbin's cruising, 5-1 lead, but 1 out.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's looking at the wreckage of what was a really nice start for him. And the 2 walks that you pointed out from guys that don't walk a lot, and that's Rojas and Mathis. And 3 of the 4 runs that come home on the slam go to Corbin's line. Prado now is 1 for 3. Our research department has unearthed this. For Justin Bour, his 2nd pinch hit home run in his career. His 1st pinch hit home run was against Tyler Clippard.
Well, the Marlins seem to have found their antidote for Mr. Clippard.
Yes.
It's a big bore.
Oof. Fastball up and in, and Prado has to hit the deck.
Yeah, when you come out from under your helmet.
He's not thrown a strike since he gave up the grand slam.
Nah. He's all over the place. Mechanically, he's all over the place. Mentally, I mean, his wheels are spinning, because when you come in a game and you got a 4-run lead that you're trusted with, and 1 batter and that's gone, that's got to shake you up a little bit.
And the Diamondbacks pen is busily getting loose and ready. Lefty and a righty down there. Yelich is on deck. And Clippard still can't throw a strike. This is amazing to watch a guy that has dominated the Marlins in his career, especially with that dazzling changeup. Beaten on that pitch in a Justin Bour grand slam, and now he's thrown 7 consecutive balls and really hasn't come close. 3-0 pitch to Prado. That's up. And don't know that Chip Hale can go much longer with Clippard. Crowd's not real pleased. Clippard's frustrated. Yelich approaching for the at-bat, and it's Chip Hale who's going to go get that left-hander. Wes Kendall Toyota called to the pen. What a turn of events in this one. 5-5 Marlins and Diamondbacks. Tom Kohler in Minneapolis. Tonight, Justin Bour, a pinch hit grand slam, has tied this game in the 7th. And the only lefty in that Arizona pen is in now, Zach Curtis. With Christian Yelich, Miami with runners at first and second, still one out. So you've got Ozuna on deck. Right-hander loosening up in Arizona's pen. Yelich tripled in the first. That stretched his hit streak to 10. Prado, the trail runner. Echeverria, the lead runner, out at second. Yelich, that's a fair ball. Down into the corner it goes. Echeverria around third. He will score. Prado rushing for third. Lenny Harris sends him. Throw to the plate. He is in there. Prado scores. And the Marlins take a 7-5 lead. Yelich ends up at third base. Diamondbacks will probably look at the replay on Prado's slide. It'll go as a double, and for now a 2-run double. Here's the slide with his hand.
Oh yeah, got that back corner of the plate.
He got it.
Oh, staying on the lefty, Yelich just looking good. Head down, buried on that ball at the point of contact. Gets it by the third baseman. Great job of Prado not slowing down on this play. I will say this, O'Brien did a great job on that relay, picking it up cleanly, getting it to the shortstop on the relay. But great running, good slide by Prado to sneak that hand in there before the tag. Nicely done. Big, big hit by Yelich. Give the Fish a 2-run lead now.
My goodness, 7 runs in the 7th last night, 6 runs in the 7th here, and a 7-5 lead. A West Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. Prado in Miami's dugout. Lenny Harris aggressive with the ball in that corner. Here comes Prado. Ted Barrett, the home plate umpire, is right on top of it. Prado got that left hand in just in time. Yelich at third, infield in. Here's Ozuna. And he goes after a fastball from Jake Barrett.
And Lenny Harris understands when that throw is coming from all the way down by the foul pole, if the outfielder picks it up and the base runners are a step or two right before the base, that's a long way to get that transfer. It's going to have to be 2 perfect throws to get the runner at home plate.
So big at bat here for Ozuna. Runner at third, 1 out, infield in. And he cracks it into left field for a base hit. Marcell Ozuna second RBI single of the night, and Miami, for the second consecutive night, has a 7-run 7th inning.
Tell you, Ozuna's bat just looks so quick right now. That bat got through the zone in a hurry. This ball is up and in, or up in the zone at least, and he gets the bat head around, and neither one of the infielders got a chance at that ball. Second night in a row, the Marlins sent at least 9 batters to the plate in the 7th inning.
Here's Stanton and a breaking ball from Barrett for a strike. Stanton started the inning with a double to left center. Barrett is one of the best arms out of the pen and one of the hotter arms out of the pen that Arizona has. Last 16 games, an ERA of just 1.32. And a slider misses out. So it's 8-5. There was a game in Marlins history in this ballpark in which Miami was down, and it's not at the tip of my tongue, but something like 7-0. It came roaring back and won the game 14-7. Cody Ross, Brett Carroll. There were some guys that had big nights that night. Stanton swings and misses. It's 1-2. But there's a ways to go in a good hitter environment against a Diamondback team that's got some pop. And a slider. Stanton strikes out. So here's Johnson. He struck out earlier. And Johnson swings and misses. That ball game was back in 2009 on July 9th. It was 7-0 Arizona on top. And Miami put 10 runs up in the 8th and won the game 14-7. Brett Carroll had a 3-run pinch hit homer in that ball game. Johnson fouls it back and out of play. Jorge Cantu, Jeremy Hermida also homering. Dan Uggla had 4 hits. Jeremy Hermida was 3 for 5. And Miami won that game 14-7, down 7-0. Down 5-1 to start this 7th. Miami has scored 7 times. Ozuna the runner at first. Johnson takes down low. But again, there's a ways to go here. See the look of Justin Nicolino. He's the beneficiary. What a different fate for both Corbin and Nicolino at this point. And it was a complete opposite 30 minutes ago. 30 minutes ago, Corbin had a 5-1 lead, was cruising. Nicolino had given up those 5 runs. You see Tyler Clippard. Marlins getting to Clippard, who came in. Justin Bour pinch hitting. Clippard threw one of those trademark changeups, and Bour blasted it for a grand slam. That tied the game. Did he go? Yes, he did. And the inning is over, but 7 runs in the 7th. Justin Bour, Tyler Clippard, and Miami comes roaring back. mascot is a snake, and that's hard to really get kids to embrace a snake. So Baxter the Bobcat takes over as the official mascot. And some fun with the fish. Cricket presents something to smile about. Now that's funny. That's funny. And maybe Justin Bour might want to think about doing that tomorrow night as well. After a pinch hit grand slam.
Baxter might be called to the carpet and told to stay away from him tomorrow. He might get that call from the principal's office, Rich.
Now Don Mattingly has to go about getting 9 outs from his bullpen. Kyle Bearclaw is the first out of the pen in the bottom of the 7th. He gets former Hurricane Peter O'Brien with Jake Lamb and Yasmani Tomas coming up. And Bearclaw splits the plate with a fastball for a strike. O'Brien 0 for 3. I told you he was red hot in Reno, which is a good place to be red hot. Swing and miss at a slider.
Well, he's not seen the ball very well tonight. He's been pitch tough and had some rough counts to work with. He's been behind in the count all night. Seen some good stuff. Nicolino buried some breaking balls down and in on him. And Bearclaw, when you're struggling, this isn't a guy you want to face because he's got a really good slider and a good fastball.
There's the slider. That's a swing and a miss. 3 pitches, 3 strikes, and 1 out. Bearclaw, and this is a number we've tracked throughout the year, is tops among National League relievers with a strikeout per 9-inning rate of over 16. Only Dellin Betances has a better one in all of baseball. Betances, part of that 3-headed monster at the back of the Yankees bullpen. Jake Lamb fouls one off. Lamb a 2-run double back in the 5th. At the knees. Last night the Marlins were able to get a win, and this was really has been a rarity this year. Get a win without having to pitch Phelps and Bearclaw. They were able to use Ramos just to try to get him some work, and while he did get work, he didn't get a lot of outs. But at least that hopefully sharpens him up if he is needed in this one. Phelps taking the sleeve off. Swing and miss stuff. And Bearclaw is combining that tonight with really good location on his fastball.
Yeah, he's been really good tonight. This is the good Bearclaw, and the guy that a lot of teams, when they see this guy for the first time, he's the talk of batting practice the next day. Tell me, man, this guy's filthy. Where did he come from? Some of them may not have seen him when he was with the Cardinals organization, and it's the first time seeing him here, but wow. Everybody's been very impressed with his stuff when you go around the batting cage on the field and you hear guys talk about it.
Yasmani Tomas is 1 for 3. And there's that fastball for a strike. Fish Family is the official loyalty program of Marlin fans. Bonus code tonight is expansion. Marlins.com/fishfamily. We talked about the different colors the Diamondbacks have had. There's the old purple and teal World Championship. Luis Gonzalez down below came over to say hi to his Marlin friends. Now a Goodwill ambassador and assistant in the front office here with the Diamondbacks.
Gonzo's a good man. He's always was considered a great teammate. a great competitor. I was honored by playing against a guy like that, guy who goes on to have the career he did, World Series hero. And, you know, it's one of those things where you look at him and you go, man, you did a lot in your career. He was one of the top players for such a long time.
One of the great practical jokers as well. Senior advisor to the president and CEO is his official title. Slider misses. Tomas lays off of it. It's 2-2. Did we miss the racing legends?
Yeah, I saw him milling around the dugout there, but I didn't actually see the race.
I missed the race. Matt Williams won the race. Not many third base coaches are portrayed in the mascot races in any ballpark, really.
It's got to be a little unnerving to be on the field in uniform and see a big cartoon head of yourself running around the bases or running around the outfield next to you. That's
well, there's Mark Grace.
There's Gracie.
He's an assistant hitting coach. Gracie and Matt Williams been long associated with this organization. Gonzo and Randy Johnson. Those are the legends. Missed in. Bearclaw thought he had a strikeout. Tomas works a walk. I wonder who some of the Diamondbacks were that did not make the cut for the Legends race.
Man. Well, Schilling pitched a few years here.
Yeah, Schilling didn't make it. Bob Brenly, manager, who managed the Diamondbacks to their only world championship. He could have been in there. Or the O-Dog.
Had some good years here, some really good years here. Orlando Hudson.
How about Quentin McCracken?
Q. They had a lot of good ball players come through here, man.
Junior Spivey.
A lot of talent, a lot of exciting young players. Even though this is a very young organization, a lot of young, exciting players came through here.
Reggie Sanders. Nick Ahmed's up now. Fastball. Ahmed into right center field. That's a hit. And it gets by Ozuna and goes to the wall. And Tomas is around third. He's going to score. And the two-out walk really hurts now.
Yeah, that's a bad angle by Ozuna. Got to run this route a little bit deeper. Cut this ball off. I don't know whether he misjudged it or didn't quite think it was hit as hard, but you got to make sure you catch this ball. They're going to rule it a triple, but in my mind as an outfielder, especially a center fielder, this ball should be a double at most. You got to take a better angle than that.
And David Peralta is going to pinch hit now. Tomas scoring all the way from first. So Peralta, Ahmed's first triple this season. Ahmed is now a homer away from the cycle. Peralta just came off the DL with a right wrist inflammation on June 6th. Chases a slider. Peralta had a really nice offensive year last year. Hit .312. Slugged .522. Led the National League in triples. Breaking ball gets away. The out at first should end the inning, and it does. But not before the Diamondbacks get one of those runs back. To the 8th, 8-6, Miami. A Jose Day, but Jose night tomorrow night on Fox Sports Florida from Arizona. Chase Field, Marlins and Diamondbacks. Zach Godley, University of Tennessee products, goes for Arizona, and it's Jose Fernandez for the Fish. And for Jose, a shot at a club record 9th straight win in 9 starts. He has won 8 consecutive starts, and he goes tomorrow night. You can watch it 9:30 for Marlins Live. David Peralta is going to stay in the ball game and play right field as Monty Tomas goes from right to left. So not really a defensive switch, just the Diamondbacks keeping their best bats in the lineup. And Josh Colmenter, who has that funky over-the-top delivery. One-time starter, now out of the bullpen. Miguel Rojas first for Miami.
That's about as over the top as you can get, Rich.
Oh, without question. I mean, if you're any over the top, he's throwing left-handed. I mean, really, when you think about it.
Oh, my goodness.
He tied him up, little dribbler, third base side, and the throw in the dirt, dug out by Goldschmidt. Rojas is out. There's a one out here in the 8th.
Look at this motion. It's way over the top. That ball sawed Rojas off, but a good pickup by Jake Lamb and a very nice scoop. That's why it's nice to have a Gold Glove first baseman over there in Goldschmidt. Pick those balls out of dirt for you.
Jeff Mathis now, and Ichiro is on deck. That's all the Ichiro fans that are here. They have the counter going. Gentleman's left plenty of room for a few hits tonight. It's 1-1. From his delivery point, you don't think he could throw a breaking ball, but you see Colmenter snapped one off a pitch ago. Mathis to right, and it falls for a hit. Peralta picks it up. Jeff Mathis with a single, and here comes Ichiro.
Rich, before we get to Ichiro, in the snake bites, in the Arizona Diamondbacks media guide, it shows that Cole Mentor developed his overhand motion throwing tomahawks. And you know what? It looks like it.
Well, now he throws baseballs. And here's Ichiro. What a series for Ichiro in Minnesota. Ichiro 2 for 5 last night, 7 hits in that series. He is 8 for his last 16. And he stands in here 27 shy of 3,000. And so a guy with a funky swing faces a guy with a funky delivery. And there is strike one. And of course, Ichiro's numbers as a whole impressive. A 333 average, but a 387 on base. Soft one hopper, and Ichiro's going to beat the relay. And he's aboard on a fielder's choice. So here comes Echeverria. MLB at bat. Certainly the only way you can keep up with Ichiro and with your favorite teams throughout Major League Baseball. On your phone, your tablet, or your watch. Get the app now. And a more sophisticated hit counter for Ichiro on MLB at bat rather than a t-shirt. Now let's see if the Marlins are sending the 42-year-old Ichiro against Cole Mentor, who's got a ways to go before he unfolds that odd delivery. Castillo, a good throwing catcher behind the plate. And you can see Cole Mentor quite concerned about keeping him close.
Well, he tell you what, from that over-the-top angle, he's got to get that good downward plane that pitching coaches are always talking about. You can't help but go down from all the way up there.
No, Chris Young has a similar type delivery, but not as extreme. Young, the tall right-hander, the Princeton basketballer who's had success as a starter.
But Chris Young was more of a short armor. This guy has a long fluid, it's longer motion.
On to second, Segura makes the play. Marlins get a hit but not a run and lead it going to the bottom of the 8th. 8-6. That's right, kid. Late night with the fish in Phoenix. Everyone admiring that 7-run seventh for the Marlins.
Welcome to the lounge, Rich.
That's right. Well, the bullpen lounge right now for Miami. And the Marlins have 3 outs from their pen after taking the lead. Although Kyle Barraclough did give up a run. Now it's David Phelps. He gets the top of the order. Gene Segura has been busy tonight. He's 2 for 3. Then you got Michael Bourne and Paul Goldschmidt. So Phelps in the 8th. Then you expect Ramos in the 9th. Miami was down 5-1 in this ball game. Phelps with a live fastball gets a strike. And the turning point, the at-bat, the pinch hit at-bat of Justin Bour once Tyler Clippard came in with the bags loaded. Clippard threw that patented changeup and Bour hit it in the seats. That tied the game. Clippard did not throw a strike after that. Walked 2. Christian Yelich drove in 2 with a double. Marcell Ozuna drove in Yelich with a single. And just like that, Miami had produced a 7-run 7th inning. One and 2. Phelps with a fastball. To right, Stanton back, and at the track he reaches up and makes the catch. And here comes Bourne. To center. And Phelps is out number 2. And here comes Paul Goldschmidt, and nice to be able to face Goldschmidt with nobody on base.
Yes, it's very nice when you can face him in a situation where you can't have the game tied up by his at bat.
Marlins have been unable to get Goldschmidt out tonight. 3 for 3, intentional walk in the 6th. Goes after a fastball, hits it deep but foul.
That one registered at 96. Coming out of that right hand of Phelps.
Fastball up. Phelps ERA in the low 2s, 2.38. In this role, when you have a bump in the road, it's very, very noticeable. As Phelps has locked down that 8th inning role, and he had one of those in Minnesota the other night. That was the home run by Robbie Grossman. And a 6-4 Minnesota win. AJ Ramos pacing, starting his routine. But as a whole, it's been an outstanding season for Phelps. Chopper. Prado loads up and gets the out. And David Phelps goes 1-2-3 through the Diamondbacks in the 8th. 8-6 Miami.
As we head to the top of the 9th inning, be sure to keep it here for our Marlins Live postgame show presented by Checkers. Here's a look at what is coming up. 7th heaven. Once again, the Marlins offense explodes in the 7th inning. Bour in a pinch. Justin Bour delivers in a pinch hit appearance. It was a grand slam that would change the entire course of the game. We will also check in with Jose Fernandez, who is making his start here tomorrow in Arizona. That's all coming up on our Marlins Live postgame show presented by Checkers. Guys.
All right, Jessica, we will be here for you, so come on up to the booth as well. We can talk about Jose. We can talk about Christian Yelich, Justin Bour. A lot to talk about. Jose Fernandez tomorrow night. Well, a chance for Miami here in the 9th to try to add an insurance run or two before the bottom of the 9th. Josh Colmenter continues on, and it's Martin Prado who takes. And with that delivery, Colmenter doesn't need to throw 97, 95, 93. He just needs to throw strikes.
Anything that different is going to cause a hitter's problem because it's something that you don't usually see. And if you only have to face him for one at bat, the advantage is definitely in his favor.
To short, Ahmed gets the out. So are you buying the story that you told earlier that he developed this overhand motion throwing tomahawks?
Rich, how can you doubt that when you watch this man throw a baseball?
I know, but I mean, think about it. I mean, Davy Crockett, Daniel Boone, those are the only guys I know that, you know, back in the day were throwing those around.
This makes sense to me when I see this. It's who else? Name another baseball player you see throw a ball like that in the big leagues. Don't worry, I'll wait.
His family raised cows, pigs, chickens, rabbits when he was young. So maybe that's legit. Born in Michigan. Played collegiately at Central Michigan. Yelich, Ahmed. A couple of ground balls to the shortstop of the Diamondbacks. And here is Marcell Ozuna. If you watch MLB Network, and a lot of us in the industry do during the day preparing for our games, there's AJ Ramos. There were a couple of Marlin notes on MLB Network today. Number one, Tom Kohler was on Intentional Talk, showing off some sick dance moves. And number two, Marcell Ozuna got some love as all-star worthy. And he's added to it tonight with 2 more RBI hits. Ozuna now has driven in 36 runs. And his batting average continues to climb. Peralta is in, is there, and makes the catch. AJ Ramos gets the call. He'll try to save it in Arizona in the bottom of the ninth. Baseball, Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Dodge, visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. Downtown Phoenix, Chase Fields. 27,000 here tonight. Fireworks are planned. And it was the Marlins with a big 7th inning that lit this place up. Miami was down 5-1, came roaring back, 7 in the 7th, and lead it 8-6 in the 9th. And here is Ramos, who stumbled around last night just trying to get some work late in a blowout win in Minnesota. Stumbled so much that he was taken out after throwing 22 pitches. And a breaking ball just misses to Wellington Castillo. Pitcher spot due up next, and then Jake Lamb. And Ramos misses outside. AJ last night gave up 3 hits, a walk, got a strikeout. And it was Ellington that came in and got the double play. It ended the game. That's a strike. And a low one, it looked like. But he got it. He got the plate, and he barely got the knees.
Just at the bottom.
Castillo asking Ted Barrett. Barrett's worked a nice game behind the plate tonight. Ramos misses away. And it's 3-1. If you followed the Marlins and AJ Ramos this year, not every save, and he's got 18 of them, not every save has been a clean breeze. There have been some nail biters. Echeverria on to first in time, and there's one out here in the ninth. But when you discuss all-star hopefuls and all-star worthy numbers, A.J. Ramos has to be right in that conversation for Miami, along with Jose Fernandez, Marcell Ozuna, Christian Yelich. Juan Nieves will tell you that. Diamondbacks will bring Chris Herman up. And he takes down low a fastball. Yelich. A ball and a strike. The Mets ended up winning that game in Milwaukee. 2-1.
Herman didn't like that call either, but got the corner. Right there on Fox Tracks.
Got him. Breaking ball, and Ramos has 2 outs here in the ninth inning.
See, not too many hitters argue with Ted Barrett as you look at this nasty breaking ball down and in. He was an amateur boxer before pursuing umpiring, and I actually heard the story that he was actually sparred with Mike Tyson when I was playing with Colorado. They had mentioned it, and I was like, really? And I asked him about it. He was like, yeah, you know, I dabbled in boxing a little bit.
Was that a home plate conversation or at first base?
No, that was on the bases out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ramos' fastball is up to Jake Lamb. 2-run double for Lamb in the 5th. And what a nice win this would be if Ramos can get this last out. The fastball got in on the hands. Ramos 18 of 18 to open the season. It's tied for the longest run in club history with the former Leo Nunez. Juan Carlos Oviedo, and that was back in 2011.
Was he the pitcher formerly known as Leo Nunez, kind of like Prince?
Yes.
Okay.
JC Oviedo. 1-2. Changeup misses low. Justin Bour, pinch hit grand slam. Tied the game at 5 in the 7th. 2-2. Just out.
AJ cut it loose right there at 95 miles an hour.
You got a big bat on deck, Yasmani Tomas.
Yeah, you don't want to bring that tying run to the plate. You want this batter right here, right now.
See what Mathis calls. He misses with what looked like a changeup. And so now here comes Tomas.
In that situation, I would rather give up a solo home run and walk him right there. I really would.
There are times when Ramos's control dictates a breaking ball or a changeup is a better pitch than, say, a fastball. You never know with AJ, right?
Well, I mean, he's got 4 pitches and he's shown he'll throw them anytime. It was just some situation as a player like you want.
Marlins are not holding the runner at first. That is a foul ball. Prado playing on the line.
You want to go with the pitch that you know that you can throw a strike with in that situation. And maybe that pitch in that situation for AJ was his changeup.
Well, now he's 0-1 on Tomas. 7 homers, a dozen doubles. Marlins are giving Lamb second base. In the air left field. Yelich under it. Ball game, and Miami down 5-1 in the 7th. Roars back in Phoenix to take down the Diamondbacks and win the first game of this 3-game set. Justin Bour, a pinch hit grand slam. Our AT&T high-speed replay. Tyler Clippard, famous for his changeup, and Justin Bour crunched one with the bags loaded in a pinch hit spot from 5-1 to 5-5. And the Marlins would continue the rally and put 7 on the board in that 7th inning and win this ball game 8-6. Jessica Blaylock standing by figuratively and literally for Marlins Live. 8-6 the final. Stick around, kids.